You've probably been in this situation before. You wake up one morning and decide that today is the day. Today, you're finally going to change. You're going to be more disciplined, more focused, more productive. You make a plan. You feel motivated. And for a few days, maybe even a few weeks, you actually follow through. Then something shifts. The motivation fades. You start making excuses. You skip one day, then two, then a week. And before you know it, you're right back where you started. You've probably been told that you lack discipline, that you're not committed enough, that you need to want it more. But what if the problem isn't your willpower at all? What if your brain is doing exactly what it's designed to do, and you've just never been taught how to work with it instead of against it? Today, I'm walking you through a single day that can flip the script, not because it fixes everything permanently, but because it creates the psychological shift that makes everything else possible. I'll also share 3 simple strategies to make your journey easier. Let's start. Here's what's actually happening. Your brain isn't wired to sustain willpower. It's wired to protect you. And every time you try to change something about your life, your brain treats it like a threat. It hits the emergency brake because it thinks you're driving toward a cliff. This is why most New Year's resolutions fail. It's not because people are weak. It's because they're fighting against a system that's designed to keep them exactly where they are. But once you understand this, really understand it, everything changes. Because the difference between trying to change your actions and actually changing who you are comes down to one thing: working with your brain instead of against it. The one-day protocol does this through 3 phases: dissonance, uncertainty, and discovery. Let me show you how. First, you need to become sufficiently fed up with where you are. Not in some vague, I should probably change way, but in a way that actually creates urgency. Most people stay in comfortable dissatisfaction, not happy, but not miserable enough to do anything about it. If you don't hate where you are, you'll tolerate it forever. So here's what you do in the morning. You're going to create what I call an anti-vision. A brutal, honest picture of the life you're heading toward if nothing changes. Ask yourself, what is the dull, persistent dissatisfaction I've learned to live with? What do I complain about repeatedly but never actually change? Then imagine yourself 5 years from now. Nothing has changed. You're still doing the same things, still avoiding the same conversations, still tolerating the same dissatisfaction. What does that life look like? Where do you wake up? What does your body feel like? What's the first thing you think about? Who's around you? What do you do all day? Be specific. Write it down. Now imagine 10 years, same trajectory. What opportunities have closed? Who gave up on you? When someone asks whatever happened to you, what do people say? If you answer these questions honestly, you should feel something: discomfort, maybe even disgust. That feeling is fuel. But here's what most people don't understand about that discomfort. It's not a sign that something's wrong with you. It's your brain's alarm system doing its job. Your brain treats discomfort like a smoke alarm. A smoke alarm can't tell the difference between actual fire and burnt toast. It just detects heat and triggers the alarm. When you sit down to do something difficult, write that email, have that conversation, start that project, your brain's threat detection system activates. It triggers the same stress response it would if you were facing actual danger. This is why you've been stuck, not because you're lazy, because your brain thinks staying the same is safer than risking change. But now that you see the real threat, the life you're heading toward, we can use that to move forward. Negative energy alone will just make you anxious. You need to orient that energy towards something. But here's where it gets interesting. You can't just set a goal, because goals don't change behavior. Identity does. Think about someone with an incredible physique. Do you think they'd have to force themselves to eat healthy every single day? Or do you think they'd have to force themselves to eat junk food? The successful founder doesn't drag themselves out of bed to work on what matters. They'd have to drag themselves out of bed to avoid it. To you, their lifestyle seems extreme. To them, it's just who they are. That's not discipline. That's identity. So forget practicality for a minute. If you could snap your fingers and be living a different life in 3 years, what would an average Tuesday look like? Not the highlight reel, the boring, unglamorous, normal day. What time do you wake up? What's the first thing you do? What are you working on? How do you feel at 3 p.m.? What do you do in the evening? Write it down. Make it specific. Make it real. Then ask yourself, what would I have to believe about myself for that life to feel natural? What identity would I need to adopt? This is where the shift happens, because once you see yourself as that person, your behavior starts to follow.
But here's what's been stopping you. Your brain is constantly pursuing goals. The problem is, most of those goals are unconscious, and they're working against the life you want. When you procrastinate on that project, you're not lacking discipline. You're pursuing a goal, protecting yourself from the discomfort of potential failure. When you scroll for 3 hours, you're not wasting time. You're achieving the goal of avoiding whatever uncomfortable thought would surface if you just sat still. When you stay in situations that make you unhappy, you're not weak. You're pursuing safety and predictability. This is why willpower doesn't work. You're not fighting against laziness. You're fighting against a goal your brain thinks is keeping you alive. So the question isn't, how do I get more discipline? The question is, what goal is my brain actually pursuing when I do this? And once you know that, you can design around it. Here's where most people mess this up. They do the journaling, they feel inspired, and then they go right back to their normal routine. You can't do that. You need structure. Your anti-vision shows you what you're avoiding. Your vision shows you what you're building toward. Now you need the game. Here's why that matters. Games are the poster child for obsession. People don't need to force themselves to play games. They want to play, because games have clear goals, immediate feedback, and a sense of progress. That's what we're building. Write down 3 lenses. 1-year lens. What would have to be true in 1 year for me to know I've broken the old pattern? Not, I'll have lost 50 pounds, that's an outcome. Try, I've worked out consistently for 12 months without willpower being a factor. 1-month lens. What would have to be true in 1 month for the 1-year lens to remain possible? This is your current level. Maybe it's, I've gone to the gym 12 times this month, even on days I didn't feel like it. Daily lens. What are 2 actions I can do tomorrow that the person I'm becoming would simply do? Not work out for 2 hours. Try put on gym clothes. That's it. This creates a hierarchy. Your anti-vision is what's at stake. Your vision is how you win. Your 1-year lens is the campaign. Your 1-month lens is the current level. Your daily actions are the moves. You can lose a move and still win the level. You can have a bad level and still win the campaign. What you can't do is forget what you're playing for. When you structure your life this way, distractions lose their pull because you're not fighting against your brain anymore. You're giving it what it wants: clear direction, feedback, progress. But there's one more piece. Throughout the day, set 3 alarms on your phone, random times. When they go off, answer one question. Am I moving toward the life I hate or the life I want? That's it. Just notice. These interrupts keep you conscious. They prevent you from slipping back into the patterns that got you here. And by the end of the day, you'll have real insights, not motivational fluff, actual truths about why you've been stuck and what needs to change. Let me be honest with you about something. One day won't fix your life permanently. The actual research shows it takes about 2 months to rewire a pattern, sometimes longer. One day creates the shift, the clarity, the direction. Real change is what happens in the 2 to 5 months that follow. So here are 3 strategies to make that journey easier. Strategy 1. Lower the threat level. Your brain reacts to the size of the task. A huge project triggers the alarm. A tiny first step doesn't. Instead of write the entire report, just open the document. That's it. Your brain won't resist that, and once you're in, momentum takes over. Strategy 2. Remove the friction. Stop trying to increase your motivation, lower the activation energy instead.
If you want to work out in the morning, lay out your gym clothes the night before. If you want to eat healthier, pre-portion your meals and remove the junk food. If you want to read more, keep the book on your pillow and your phone in another room. Every obstacle you remove makes the behavior easier, and easier behaviors require less willpower. Strategy 3, make your future self real. Your brain treats your future self like a stranger, so future consequences feel abstract. But when you make your future self vivid, when you imagine what they wear, how they think, what their daily life looks like, that distance collapses. Your future self starts to feel real, and when they feel real, the actions you need to take today feel necessary instead of optional. You don't need to master all of these, just pick one. Pick the one that feels easiest and start there. So here's what I want you to take away from this. You're not broken, you're not lazy, you're not lacking discipline. Your brain is doing exactly what it's designed to do. It's protecting you. The difference between feeling stuck and moving forward isn't about willpower. It's about understanding how your system works and designing your life around that truth. One day can change everything, not because it fixes everything permanently, but because it creates the clarity and the shift that makes everything else possible. Remember that version of you from the beginning, the one who wakes up motivated, then watches it all fall apart? That person isn't weak. They just didn't know their brain was doing its job. You know now, and knowing changes everything. You don't need to have it all figured out today. Just pick one phase. Start with the anti-vision if you need to feel it. Start with the vision if you need direction. Start with one tiny action if you just need to move. That's all it takes. This is the Better Version Project. I'll see you in the next one.